Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Big Shot Breakdown. We're going to go over 5 college basketball games for Friday, February 23rd, 2024. If you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to put your college basketball picks in the comment section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, including my college basketball bank shot best bet, you can find those at the premium picks tab at pickdawgz.com. There's also a link in the description. Alrighty, here we go for Friday's small card in college hoops. First up, we'll go to the Ivy League as Yale takes on Cornell. This one's going to be a 7 p.m. Eastern start time. It's going to be on ESPN+. Now, these teams played not too long ago, back on February 10th. It was a 2-point win, 80-78, the final score in favor of Yale. So they won the game, but Cornell covered the number as the road underdog. Now, in this spot, we see Yale coming off the loss to Princeton. They were on a big win streak going into that game, but they lost it by 11 points on the road. Solid Princeton team, really no shame in that loss, but you certainly wouldn't want to lose it by double digits. Cornell, on the other side, after losing to Yale, they bounced back with 2 wins over some of the weaker teams in the conference at home against Harvard and Dartmouth. The win against Dartmouth, giving up 80 points, is a big concern for me because that's not a very good Dartmouth offense. And, Dartmouth defensively is decent, but the offense has struggled all year. So to give up 80 points in that game, it goes to show you, Cornell, one of the weaker defenses out of the better teams in this Ivy League conference. We know they're a great, sharpshooting team. They're number 1 in the country in 2-point field goal percentage, number 4 in effective field goal percentage. But that defense does hold it back. The fundamentals also, Cornell turns the ball over quite a bit. They're not a great rebounding team. They don't get to the free throw line much. So I like Yale in this matchup to sweep the season series. I know Cornell, a home team playing with revenge, is often a spot we've backed this season on the Bank Shot Breakdown. But I just think Yale matches up really well in this game. And when you look at that first matchup, Yale won the first game by 2 points despite shooting just 21% from 3. They only made 3 3-pointers in that ball game. Cornell was 10 of 25 from 3, and we know, Cornell's a great 2-point shooting team, but they're not necessarily known for being excellent from the perimeter, but they shot 40% from 3 in that game, and they still lost it by 2. If the numbers regress towards the mean, we see Yale's shooting percentages bump up a bit, Cornell go down to where their season average is. I think Yale can win this game, in pretty comfortable fashion, so I'm going to take Yale here, and I'm going to take them on the road. Next up, we see Kent State and Akron. This one's going to be a 7 p.m. Eastern start time as well. It's going to be on CBS Sports Network. These teams played a little bit over a month ago, back on January 19th. It was a win for Akron on the road, 77-71 the final. Akron was up big in that game early on. I think the largest lead they had was in the double digits. Let's see, it was 20 points actually. 31-11 was the largest lead, but got to give Kent State credit. It was only a 6-point loss by the end of the game, and it was because Kent State won the second half by 8 points, and they were playing pretty well down the stretch. They actually made it a pretty interesting game. And while you can't really carry that momentum because the game was over a month ago, I still think that Kent State can build on the good things that they did in that second half. And I've mentioned all season long, I think Kent State's better than its current record. Right now, this team is 13-13 overall, and they're 6-7 in conference play. So right around 500 both, in conference and overall play. And I still think Kent State's a team that you just don't want to play in this MAC conference tournament. Maybe it's because they won the tournament last year and he made it to the NCAA tournament. But I just think Kent State's got the talent. They have the experience, and obviously one of the better coached teams in this conference. And Akron, coming off the loss against Toledo, now they've lost 2 of the last 3 games. I haven't liked what I've seen from this Akron offense. I mean, they only scored 64 in that game at Toledo. We know Toledo's not necessarily known for their defense. I mean, Toledo's ranked 352nd in effective field goal percentage defensively. And while I mentioned in that game that I thought Toledo was underrated defensively, not that much. I mean, Akron scoring 64 in that game is really concerning. I think Kent State's going to compete in this one. I think Akron wins, but I think Kent State covers the number and has a chance to earn the outright upset. So give me the points here with the Golden Flashes. Next up, we see Purdue, Fort Wayne, and Green Bay. This one's going to be a 7 p.m. Eastern start time. It's going to be on ESPN+. Now, we faded both of these teams quite a bit this season. Certainly Green Bay, who, I've mentioned, got to give them credit for improving the program in only a year. Last year they were 361st, and KenPom only had 3 wins. And here they are cracking the top 200 with 12 conference wins already. But, I do think both teams are a bit overrated. I just think that the matchup really benefits Purdue, Fort Wayne in this one because Green Bay is a team that all season long has benefited from taking low percentage shots, tough shots, and making them at a good rate. Got to give them credit for making those shots. I mean, they're a really good 3-point shooting team, and they score a ton of their points from the perimeter, 40% of their points from 3-point jumpers. That's the 8th most in the country in terms of point distribution. But when you're playing teams like Northern Kentucky or Purdue, Fort Wayne that do a good job of defending the perimeter, I do think your offense is going to be uncomfortable. And we saw that the season series against Northern Kentucky. They lost both those games, Green Bay did, 74-52, and most recently 58-57, scoring less than 60 points in both of those ball games because Northern Kentucky, top 30 in the nation in three-point defense. Purdue Fort Wayne, maybe not as good as the Norse, in terms of three-point defense, but still a top 75 three-point defense and a team that's fundamentally sound. They take care of the basketball. They force a ton of turnovers, which benefits them again because Green Bay turns the ball over quite a bit. Now, Purdue Fort Wayne, not a great rebounding team, but neither is Green Bay, especially on the offensive side. I think that this matchup benefits Purdue Fort Wayne, and we saw them, take the first game of the season series. That was more towards the beginning of the season in general, back on November 29th. And while Green Bay's playing with revenge, it was also, a game quite a while ago, so not necessarily as much of a revenge spot as you usually see in conference play. And I just don't think it's going to matter. I think Purdue Fort Wayne's defense makes Green Bay uncomfortable. And I think Purdue Fort Wayne does enough. They're also a sharpshooting team. They're top 100 in three-point shooting. They're 43rd in effective field goal percentage. So they can match, Green Bay in making those tough shots. So give me the Purdue Fort Wayne Mastodons in this one. I'm going to take them on the road. Next up, we see Brown and Columbia. This one's going to be a 7 p.m. Eastern start time as well, also on ESPN+. Now, Brown has actually been a profitable team against the spread on the road this season. They're 6-5, so nothing crazy, but for a team at 7-17 overall, that's actually pretty solid. And I do think we've seen Brown, a few nice wins on the road this year. Most recently against Penn, 71-64. They also beat Harvard on the road. They beat Rhode Island, an A10 team, top 200 team. Beat them on the road outright. And Columbia's been a solid home team against a number 5, 3-1, but I think Brown competes here a little bit more than they did in that first meeting not too long ago. That was a 14-point loss. But what Brown does, they're a solid three-point defense, and they don't give up many points from the perimeter. Less than 30% of their points given up defensively are from three-point jumpers. That's important against Columbia. Columbia is a very good three-point shooting team, 11th best in the nation. Brown giving up a majority of their points from the free throw line and 2-point field goals, of course. But Columbia is ranked 252nd in two-point field goal percentage, and they don't get to the free throw line much. So I think Brown's defense is going to be fine here. Now, the Columbia defense ranked 273rd in adjusted defensive efficiency. Not great for a Brown offense looking for a kind of breakout performance. This would be a type of game, and I think Brown, you can build off some of the momentum we saw with that win against Penn. It was a 71-64 final in a game where we saw Brown shoot 52% from two-point range and he get 22 free throw attempts. Certainly scoring more sustainable buckets. So I think Brown competes here, covers the number, maybe earns the outright upset, but I'm going to take the points just in case. Next up, we see Fairfield and Quinnipiac. This one's going to be 9 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be on ESPNU. Not too often we see Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference games on ESPN or ESPNU. And, this is a nice spot here for this Quinnipiac program to earn a home win, on TV. And, they haven't played great as of late. They lost to Mount St. Mary's and Niagara the last two games, but we've taken a couple of teams today to sweep the season series. We did so with Yale and with Purdue Fort Wayne, and I'm going to do so here with Quinnipiac. I just think that they match up well in this matchup. I mean, Fairfield, a team that I think has been overrated quite a bit throughout the season, and they've been solid in conference play. Give them credit, 10-5 record. They're going to be a tough out in this conference tournament, but fundamentally, not a great rebounding team. They rely a little bit too much on the three-point jumper for my liking. Quinnipiac, not an amazing three-point defense, but also not terrible. Still top 200, and they're top 100 in two-point defense. And I just think fundamentally much more balanced team. They're 17th best in the free throw percentage as a team, so that's important if this is a close game late and Fairfield is forced to foul. Quinnipiac, you can feel pretty good about their chances at the charity stripe. And, I just think Quinnipiac at home here is the play, so I'm going to go with the Bobcats and lay the points. And that's it. Those are the games for Friday. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe and put your college basketball picks in the comment section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium. As always, this is Romanelli. Good luck.